Cenk Uygur is the host of the Young Turks on YouTube at theyoungturks.com and, of course, on Current TV. Hey, Cenk, great to talk to you.
Great to talk to you, David. Thanks for having me.
So, hey, what's going on with media coverage of this 2012 election? I mean, we're talking about everything from gas prices, which, of course, Republicans want people talking about when it comes to criticizing Barack Obama. We're talking about these extreme social positions. Do you think that, on the whole, we can rely on corporate media to give us a fair assessment of these candidates, or do people really need to look elsewhere?
Well, the corporate media has gigantic problems, and my worry about them is more on quote-unquote bipartisan issues. When the Republicans and Democrats agree to screw us over or agree to start new wars, then we're in a world of trouble, because the corporate media would never, under any circumstances, actually stand up to both parties. Because at best, what they're going to do is he said, she said, and if both he and she agree, we're screwed, no matter what the American people want. Now, on the terms of the election, yeah, it's amazing how well propaganda works, because the Republicans nonstop talking about how President Obama is responsible for gas prices going up. That is nowhere near true. We're at an 8-year high in domestic oil production. And so this whole idea that he isn't drilling enough is preposterous. But nonetheless, Washington Post poll out today, over 60% blame President Obama for gas prices. I think, towards your question there, David, I think the media has an absolute responsibility to keep pointing out what actually makes gas prices go up. And so when Republicans spew that nonsense, yes, it's definitely the job of the media to correct them.
Right, and so many of them aren't doing it. I mean, I had economist Richard Wolff on the show last week, and he made it very clear, no matter whether it's a Republican or a Democratic president, they really can't do much directly about gas prices. And we looked at Fox News, and I know Fox News is not a good example of news, even though it is in the name. And with Barack Obama harping on, hey, has Obama done enough to lower gas prices? What is he doing? Does he want them higher? When at the same time we found 10 or 12 clips from when George W. Bush was president saying, hey, the president can't really do anything about gas prices. So it's patent hypocrisy that we're seeing.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, obviously, Fox News is in the business of lying and propaganda. It was, almost entirely set up to be a Republican propaganda machine by Roger Ailes. And I don't know if that Rupert Murdoch knew that going in, but it's irrelevant because he seems to be really enjoying it, especially as it makes a profit for him. But when it comes to, again, this idea of propaganda, I mean, Fox News talking about how President Obama wants gas prices at $9 or $10, that's insanity. No president in their right mind going towards a re-election would want that. I think President Obama has played politics with gas, but it's not to make gas prices higher. I think no person in their right mind that actually knows anything about politics believes that. So that's why when you look at Fox News, it's obvious that they're disingenuous liars, right? Now, it's to the effectiveness point. My God, I just saw a poll out of Alabama and Mississippi saying that in Alabama it's 45%, in Mississippi it's 52% of Republicans believe that President Obama is a Muslim. And only 12 to 14% believe he's Christian.
Right.
So that's unbelievable, unbelievable. But through propaganda, the Republicans, Fox News Channel, et cetera, have gotten the majority in the case of Mississippi and these giant numbers in the case of, Alabama and elsewhere of Republicans that believe that President Obama is something that he's not.
That's almost worse than 2% of Americans thinking Mitt Romney's full name is Mittens.
That Mitt Romney is what?
His full name is Mittens, Mittens Romney.
Well, that's at least fun.
Right. Hey, listen, I get a bunch of different emails. I'm on people's mailing list that are kind of like people who send out complaints about progressive media, and a lot of times they're about me personally, but sometimes they're about the Young Turks or about you. And there's one that seems to be a common thread that I know you're going to want to take head on, which is this. They say, for all the great critiques that shows like the Young Turks and, Sam Cedar and David Pakman and Tom Hartman do about the misogyny on the right, I think that Cenk Uygur specifically hurts his cause when he's discussing a female, either politician or some kind of nutty elected official from the South, and he says, is she hot? Is she attractive? And I'd never respond to these people, but I figure I'm talking to you now. Let's address this head on. Address that criticism. I mean, what would be your reaction to that person if they called you on this?
Right. First of all, I enjoy all of those kind of critiques. And listen, I actually take the critiques very seriously if they come from the right place. I mean, they're all the ones that say that I'm a Muslim terrorist and yada, yada, socialist, communist, Maoist, all that is garbage. But people make legitimate critiques from time to time. And you know what? This is a perfectly fine question. And so along those lines, look, when we talk about it on the show, we always separate out the two things. And we don't think that there's anything wrong about talking about it in the two different spheres. So, you know, from time to time, a lot of the time, we do an incredibly serious show where we give you very important points about politics, about how money influences elections, et cetera, et cetera. And also often on the show, we talk about other things that are fun things, whether it's, you know, Miley Cyrus coming out of a pot shop and what does that say about legalizing marijuana?
Right.
Or women being hot in certain circumstances, or men being hot in certain circumstances. Now, the important thing is not to combine the two things. Not to say, hey, you know what, Hillary Clinton or Michelle Bachmann is either hot or not hot, and hence, this is what I think of their policy positions. That would be absurd. It would be beyond absurd. But I think that I don't think it's out of bounds to talk about the attractiveness of any women or men, and we do it all the time. And if they don't like it, I suppose that goes in the category of sad day.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest. If you were attracted to men, then you would probably be more focused on the attractiveness of men on the show. It just so happens that maybe you're better at evaluating the attractiveness of a woman. Who knows?
Okay, so two things about that. Number one, we do often talk about the attractiveness of men. Anna brings it up in the second hour, and it's a perfectly legitimate conversation.
Right.
Number two, is it misogynistic to have a conversation about whether a woman is hot or not? If it is, then I would posit that at least 99% of men in this country are then misogynistic.
Of course.
That's nonsense. That's not misogynistic. That's a totally different conversation. Whether it belongs in a certain show isn't a good and open question.
Yeah, but and I think the other part of it too, Cenk, are you using it as a barometer to evaluate their policy proposals, or like you said, is it just a completely separate issue?
Absolutely, no question about it. And if you think it's out of bounds to ever talk about attractiveness of anybody, well, honestly, I don't think you live in the real world. You think people don't talk about that? You think that that's not a relevant conversations that happen in humanity? You think every conversation with somebody is, okay, well, tell me about their policy positions?
Yeah, no question.
Among political eggheads like us, but otherwise, hell no.
I'm desperate for my producer to give me an evaluation of someone, male, female. I can't get a read on the guy. It's unbelievable. Hey, listen, last question for you. We play this game, Elect, Deport, Waterboard, right? So last week we played it with Gingrich, Santorum, and Romney, right? It's kind of like a political F, marry, kill. But I want to throw out to you a combination that involves the Young Turks staff, because I think this will help us really get a read on what exactly is going on internally there. I want you to give me your Elect, Deport, Waterboard with Ben Mankiewicz, Michael Shure, and Ana Kasparian. Given that choice, it's like a Sophie's choice of sorts. What do you do with that, Cenk?
All right. Now, obviously, it's a horrible choice, but I'll get my best here. Since my political positions are closest to Ben's, I'm going to have to elect him. I feel bad for the other two, but that's the reality. And Anna loves Latin American men, so I'm going to deport her to, I don't know, somewhere in South America where she might actually be in heaven. And then that leaves Michael to get waterboarded. And, you know, he's tough. He can take it. So I'm hoping Michael's all right.
All right. Cenk Uygur, host of the Young Turks. They're on YouTube, theyoungturks.com, of course, Current TV. Great to talk to you, Cenk. Really a pleasure, as always.
All right. Thank you, David.